Hey everyone, and welcome to From Waterloo to the Alamo. I'm your host, Traci Wilson, and today we have Michele Anderson, the CEO of Austin Habitat for Humanity. Michele, I'm so glad to have you here today. I'm actually really excited to kind of dive into what Austin Habitat for Humanity is, because as we were kind of discussing before we started recording, is I think that there's a lot of misconceptions of what Austin Habitat for Humanity does. And I'm excited to kind of dive into what y'all's mission is, kind of what y'all's vision, your core values are, and kind of how you guys are trying to transform kind of the housing industry in a way that it is more affordable and sustainable and that everyone has a safe place, to live. So again, thank you for being here. I'm excited to kind of dive into everything. But why don't we start, first of all, you have been the CEO of Austin Habitat for Humanity for about 3 years now, and you're overseeing multiple efforts, even just across Texas. The Texas counties. Sorry, I meant to say Texas counties. What do you think was the pivotal moment or inspiration that led you into the nonprofit leadership, if you weren't in that in the past, in your past endeavors?
Right. Well, I have been in the nonprofit world, so I'll take you back far.
Yeah.
Is actually when I was in high school, I did a lot of volunteer work,
Mm-hmm.
and so I kind of fell in love with the nonprofit world. But then I decided I wanted to do business, so I did an internship at United Way because I thought I would get to see a lot of the corporations,
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing the work and the impact. I never left the nonprofit world.
Yeah.
So it was really drive for passion. I was raised by a single mom. So when we talk about habitat, could have been one of the habitat families.
Oh, wow.
So I understand and saw what a real struggle is from a
Mm-hmm.
hardworking mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I've heard a lot of people who go from either the corporate world to the nonprofit world. Like you said, it's a drive for passion. They fall in love with having a responsibility, having a job, but there's such a huge purpose behind it, right? Bigger than, providing X, Y, and Z product to people, right? It's definitely, like you said, there is a drive for purpose. So tell me, how has your approach to leadership evolved since becoming the CEO of Austin Habitat for Humanity? And what would you say are some personal qualities you think define success?
Right. Well, since I kind of grew up in the nonprofit world, I was used to being hands-on.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So I really had to learn that I needed to let other people grow and learn,
Mm-hmm.
and that you also just run out of capacity.
Yeah.
And in coming to Austin Habitat, particularly, I did not have a building background. So you really do have to empower the people that are around you and support them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing much more outward facing work, kind of the face of habitat, and also strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of thinking and less doing.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime you get to go out on site and build, it's just renewing and refreshing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and I'm sure if you can't just, divide and conquer, like you're never going to do anything great if you're trying to divide everything over 20 different tasks. But that's why you have people that work for you. So that can help specialize in those areas to make you guys this holistic team approach.
Right.
But that is awesome that you kind of get to have that little bit of a break by going out on site and seeing the homes. And I feel like it has to be extremely rewarding when you see you guys have built something and then a family can now have a place to live. I feel like that has to be, it's different, right? Because, when we sell homes here with residential real estate, buying a home or living in a home is one of the most important pivotal points of someone's life, right? Whether it's their biggest investment, but it's also where a kid has their core memories, right? This is where I skinned my knee outside the front, or this is where Jack and I got in trouble because we threw rocks to Mr. Bill's, tried to see who could hit Mr. Bill's car, So a home is so important. And I feel like y'all are doing such an incredible job of trying to provide more homes for people who may not necessarily be able to do it on their own.
Right.
So that's kind of where let's talk about programs and the community impact for you guys. I know y'all recently launched an affordable energy efficient home in Whisper Valley, if that's
Yes.
correct. Yes. What are some of the sustainability features that you're most excited about this, like with this home? And how do you think that's going to play out in the future projects for Habitat for Humanity?
Right. Well, we want to be one of the most innovative and scalable habitats across the country.
Mm-hmm.
So, and being in Austin, the innovation that
Yeah.
occurs here gives us a lot of opportunities to be innovative. And
Mm-hmm.
we loved Whisper Valley. And even a small note is the reason it's called Whisper Valley is because it's quiet, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the machines kind of running to keep your house cool. Everything or heat, everything's underground. So the geothermal, it's the largest geothermal neighborhood in the country. And
Wow.
we're excited for our families to have opportunity to live there. And not only is it the innovative cool factor, the electric bills are going to be
Yeah.
dramatically lower. So it's very energy efficient. It's all underground. All the houses are connected in.
Oh,
And
that's great. So will it
right.
do well in really hot and cold spells,
Yes.
assuming? Yeah.
Yes. And so, it's just a great innovation that
Mm-hmm.
also is a cost saver.
Yeah.
So anytime you can take someone who's, starting out in a first time home or is really living close to the margins,
Right.
saving on electric bills is very beneficial.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the question is too, because I know enough about energy efficient, but like in green living, but the cost to implement that from the building standpoint, what is the difference? I mean, if you can give me a rough idea of building a regular home, right, that's not
Right.
energy efficient versus putting the resources into these green efficiency tools and systems to build this house. Is it more expensive on the build side versus building a traditional home, which of course in the end saves the consumer money?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is more expensive. These are some of the most expensive homes we have built. Now, in saying that, they sell at a cap of 235.
Right.
So 235,000, but that's still on the high end of a Habitat home,
Right.
but about half the price that it would cost. So we do.
Yeah.
We look for a lot of grants and opportunities that are based on green and energy efficient. So that's how we try to cover the additional gap
costs.
is
Yeah.
people that are really looking to invest their philanthropic dollar in
Mhm.
technology like that.
That's really, really cool. And I guess one of the things too you can say, like, I know that one of y'all's big initiatives is to build homes for, the essential workers, right? Like teachers and firefighters, at an easily accessible price point. For those essential workers. And I think that's also extremely meaningful that you guys are doing that. But I feel like too, do you think there's a misconception that you're still building houses for kind of the middle of the road, working mom, parents? It's not necessarily just completely low income, right? And these people still have mortgages. They still pay like any other person would purchasing a home.
Yes. So our families are teachers, paramedics, the assistant manager of a coffee shop that you
Mhm.
go to. So it's people that are working full
Right.
time. They just can't afford a $500,000 home.
Mm-hmm.
And so our homes are also valued in quality. I mean, when I first came in, I was thinking maybe the house isn't built as with quality materials. Our houses are so high quality. Where we save money is, we don't put in granite countertops, but we'll put in quality cabinets and quality appliances because we don't want the homeowner to have a big expense.
Mm-hmm.
So the, kind of upgraded items would be up to the home buyer, but they wouldn't be expensive, like light
Mm-hmm.
fixtures and things like that. So we keep it cost effective, but high quality.
Right.
And yeah, everybody's working and, it's based on a median family income, which not everybody knows, but like a single person would need to be earning about 65,000.
Mm-hmm.
A family of 4 would be 96,000 to get into a Habitat home. So
Yeah.
these are people that are working hard.
Yeah.
They just aren't at at the point where they can afford a home in Austin at this point.
Right. Well, what results have you seen so far with this kind of initiative for these essential workers to get into these homes?
Well, what we see is number one, we're not losing essential workers.
Mm-hmm.
Time after time, the story's the same. From young people starting out to people that are in their middle age thinking,
Right.
am I going to leave? So they're making the decision, am I going to leave Austin in order to buy a house, or am I going to rent forever? Which neither of those are options that we would like to see people take. So we had a teacher who'd been teaching 7 years. She was going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to put her in a home really close to the school she works with. We work with the school systems, because we want to keep the talented people here in Austin. Community doesn't work well if you don't have an infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you drive people 45 minutes, their quality of life
Yeah.
and their response time are going to be less.
Right. Yeah. And they're going to, of course, lose their ambition and drive to want to put fully into that job. Right.
Right.
So what locations, because y'all have homes all over Austin, I assume.
Yes.
And do y'all work with every single school district, or is there some school districts you haven't quite created that relationship with? Or is it every, like Leander? Is it, Austin? Is it all of the, tell me, is there any school districts you haven't actually established a relationship with to create that?
Well, we work with the larger school districts, but we
Uh-huh.
particularly will work with the schools that are close to our neighborhood.
Right.
And so that's when we enter a neighborhood, we will look
Mhm.
at the surrounding schools, and every school district is happy to welcome us in, because whether it's a cafeteria worker that's been working
Right.
for 20 years who wants a home, to a newer teacher. So we work with the local businesses and school systems and cities. And I mean, a lot of our work has been concentrated in Austin because that's where the problem was most severe. But with Whisper Valley, it's actually in Travis County. So we didn't really have an established relationship. So we
Mhm.
went and met with Judge Andy Brown and all of the commissioners. And it was such a warm
Mhm.
welcome. They were like, where have you been?
Right.
So it's us being able to expand and reach that
Mhm.
capacity, but the willingness for cities, counties, school districts to work with us has been received with open arms.
Yeah. Well, and I think people have to realize our kids are in school X amount of days a year, X amount of hours a week, X amount of hours a day. And those teachers are the ones that are probably with our children in our lifetime, right? Before they leave for college, right?
Right.
Sometimes more than the parents are, just
Right.
because of the 5 days a week they're in school. And so it is so important that we get quality teachers who love what they're doing, but are able to live a sustainable lifestyle, being able to be a teacher and do the work that not a lot of people want to do, right? Not a lot of
Right.
people want to be a teacher because the pay is not always great and the days are long and whatnot. So it's so important, because I think people forget these teachers are the hands and feet that are guiding our children every single day throughout, the next 12, 13 years of their life.
Right. And also, when you look at the other jobs in the healthcare industry too,
Mhm.
people that are working in nursing homes and
Right.
assisted living facilities.
Yeah.
I wear my Habitat shirt, and my mom is with us, and she is in assisted living, and come into my Habitat t-shirt, and we have a conversation about people that want to buy homes, and they may be taking care of your parents. So you go from
Or
having
you one day. You never
exactly
know.
exactly, and you want people to be able to have an opportunity to build generational wealth. We haven't talked about that, but that's another important part of why I love Habitat,
Mhm.
is because it's the number one way people build wealth in the United States.
Mhm.
And if we limit that, then it's going to hurt the United States, because we're going to have a country of renters that don't have a safety net. I mean, there is a place for rent, but if
Mhm.
you want to buy and you're not able to because there aren't homes available, then we are going to put people in a financial position that they
Yeah.
don't want to be in, because they don't have any wealth in a home.
Right. Right. Well, let's talk about basically you are a pretty strong advocate for practical housing legislation in Texas. Which policies are you like, I guess that do you believe will dramatically move the needle on affordable housing in Central Texas? Because it is so important. Because not only part of y'all's mission and goal, right, is to create, focus on shelter and create a safe place for people to live, is kind of what you mentioned earlier, that we need to be able to invest in our families and the future of America. And a big part of that is creating that generational wealth. So what are some policies you feel like are going to really, really maybe hit the nail on the head with trying to get people on board for this?
Well, zoning reform has
Mhm.
been really important, and
Right.
Austin's been leading the way with that because zoning reforms allow us to build different types of housing and also in a denser area.
Mhm.
So we build single family homes, condos, and townhomes. So depending on the piece of land, we try to maximize the value.
Right.
And so having the zoning reforms really helps. Another thing, even outside of reform, that we don't talk about is collaboration.
Mhm.
So when we collaborate and work with other organizations that want this same thing, it helps our voice to be heard, and it makes the load lighter if
Right.
there's many people carrying it. Also, the city of Austin and Travis County, since we're building out there with Whisper Valley, have supported with financial, with bonds,
Right.
and with funds that they put aside for affordable housing.
Mhm.
And I think it's the best investment the cities and counties can make because now you have taxpayers
Right.
that are paying for the home. You have people that are going to stay invested. And we would like nothing more than from our homeowners to come to you and go to a market rate house. And
Mhm.
that's what you can do because our families are building wealth. So
Mhm.
I would say two things: zoning reforms, and then also funding for affordable home ownership, which
Mhm.
affordable housing, the home ownership part is so small.
Yeah.
And so I would love to personally see that grow
Mhm.
because I think it creates momentum and it helps families move upwards
Yeah.
instead of down.
Right. And it helps give them something to push forward to, right?
Right.
Because once you have something like a home, I feel like it's like, this is the place. And then you want to try to get to that next milestone. So I think I think you're right. I think those are probably some two really important policies.
Hello, my name is Matthias Braganza, General Sales Manager at Mack Hike Ford Lincoln, your #1 Ford dealer in Central Texas. We are here for all your automotive needs: Ford, Lincoln, pre-owns, all year makes and model. If we don't have it, we'll find it. You won't find anybody that will work as hard as I will to earn your business. Thank you for making us #1 in Austin, Texas.
Okay, tell me a little bit about the Capital Build initiative. I know that what did that experience teach you about engaging, community stakeholders and lawmakers to really, really make a powerful impact?
Right. Well, first, it's just like you having us on today. It's a
Hmm.
lot of education
Right,
because people think we give homes away,
right.
and
Which that was me. Yeah,
right.
kind of thought
Well,
that.
and that was me too. That it
Hmm.
was, so it's education.
Right.
And so the first thing is educating people about what
Hmm.
we actually do.
Right.
And the second is bringing people together because there isn't anyone I've met that doesn't think the American dream is important. And a big part of the American dream is to own a home.
Hmm.
And so when you bring people from different political views together, there are
Hmm.
things they agree on. And one of the things is home ownership. So
Right.
when we do the Capitol builds and we get people from different parties to come out there, we can find a lot of agreement.
Right.
And that doesn't happen a lot, unfortunately, in our world
Hmm.
right now. So for me, I love having people come together for a common purpose that we can all agree on.
Yeah.
And we do also we're doing the Carter Work Project, but we do a build again where we say, leave your differences, hammer out your differences, right?
Right.
but it's tongue in cheek, but it is an opportunity where people really come together and talk about what we have in common.
Right. And we all have the same goals. I think,
Right.
we want America to prosper. We want our cities to prosper. We want our states to prosper. And a big part of that is creating, opportunity for the American people to be able to live the American dream, right?
Right.
Like you mentioned. So, and of course, it's only going to be better for us because we're creating, raising more people in, homes and being able to
Right.
give them essentially a better life. So, okay, so y'all received a transformational $1 million gift from a corporate partner. How do you approach engaging major donors like the one who, gave that incredible gift? And I guess what are some of your strategies that essentially give the most meaningful results?
Right. Well, I think it really starts with engaging people in the process.
Mm-hmm.
What are their hopes and dreams? What do they want to accomplish?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's having a bold vision.
Right.
So I think a lot of times when you're talking about 7-figure gifts, people want to see a transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we wanted to do. I mean, that was when I came here. They said, we want to triple the number of homes. Can we do that? And I said, I have no idea. We have to dig in.
Yeah.
And we have incredible senior team and talented staff. And we figured we can do it. But we were taking a leap of faith
Mm-hmm.
because there was a big gap. And so we just started talking to people about it and really looking for opportunities like this to share our story and get people excited. Also, if people come out to a build, if they like that, you come out for a build, you meet a homeowner, and it's not hard.
Yeah.
You see that you've materially changed a family's life and you want to come back. And like you said, it's a building, you get to see it. It's going to be there
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow in 10 years, 20 years, 50
Right.
years. It's not going away.
Right. And it's going to continue to bless other families throughout the years, which is something also that's very cool. And
Right.
that's what I think the housing and residential home, even in what we do, is so cool.
It is.
So, okay. So tell me about the Women Build movement. That's a pretty standout effort. I know that you've been mobilizing women in leadership, and, helping them volunteer to reshape, the communities that you serve. So tell me a little bit about that.
So Women Build, we had it, but we decided to really energize that program too. So we had some amazing female leaders on our board, and we decided we wanted to do Women Build. But the reason behind it is 65% of our homeowners are female single head of households.
Wow, that's an incredible
So
statistic.
it's single moms that are trying to juggle working full-time, children, and just are not at the threshold to buy a market house. And so when you get to see women provide that for their families, it's really powerful. There's a lot of tears on both sides. So we started working in the philanthropic community, asking women to step up with a $10,000 gift. And with 10 women, we can build a house. That's our gap, is about 100,000. So we are getting women excited. And then if they want to, it's so funny too, because we have women that are like, I don't want to build. You don't have to. But we do have some women that want to build. And so we have pink hard hats. Some people have tool belts.
So cute.
And
I
we
love it.
go out there together, and it's really fun. It's really exciting. And the homeowners love it too, especially the ones that are the single moms. I think it's really cool that their colleagues and friends are coming out there to build with them.
To support them and other women supporting women, right?
And like with my background, it's very important to me because I was raised by a single mom and there were just 2 of us. So I cut the grass and did the chores. They weren't divided by sex.
Yeah.
But I saw my mom struggle. And so anytime I can pay that forward, it's an emotional experience.
Yeah. I mean, when my husband's out of town, I think all the time, oh my gosh, and it's the smallest things. I mean, I've got 3 kids and 2 dogs, and I work full-time.
You're outnumbered. So.
But yeah, but still, every time I sit there and I'm just like, to me, like single working moms, it's just they're just so incredible, right? And they're to me, those are the role models right there because they're figuring out how to not only they're basically taking on 2 full-time jobs, working and being basically
Right.
a mom.
And so when you build a home too, I didn't always realize this, that kids do better in school, people do better in their
Yep.
careers, even their health is better.
Yep.
Less ER visits. I mean, we have tangible measurements on that. And so you think of when you have a single mom, that community, because she doesn't move, she engages in community, helps support the family.
Right.
Right. So think about it when you have, when your husband's out of town and you need a neighbor to watch your children, you have to know the neighbor, you have to
Yeah.
engage with the neighbor. So it creates a network of support. We even had the teacher that I was telling you about who had taught for 7 years, befriended the neighborhood groups and said when she went out of town, there was someone to water her plants. She's never had that before. She bought the kids in the neighborhood a basketball. So, it's just a network that everyone has that as a single parent, I know I experienced is so much more important than like my kids who had, both of us. My mom really relied on friends and neighbors.
Right. Yeah. No, that's so important. And especially to have a community of people who are going through what you're going through. There's nothing worse than talking to someone who has no idea, hasn't been there, for them to relate. Because there's really not much you can say is just, I'm sorry for you. There's really not much versus someone who's been through it and then y'all can kind of share advice and whatnot. So it is much bigger than just building a home for someone.
Hey, just a minute ago, you were talking about the pink hard hats in the building. And I was curious, before you move on, everybody in Texas, I think, who grew up here, at least knows about Habitat for Humanity, because even when I was in high school, youth groups and people would be volunteering, right? So I wanted to ask, because you brought up the volunteering in the actual building, and while you're talking about big $1 million, 7-figure donations, there's a lot of people who volunteer who are not doing $1 million donations. They're volunteering their time to help build. And I was curious, how important is that aspect of volunteers, like the builders? Is that a really important aspect, or is a lot of the work being done to build a house actually just hired labor, and then there's people coming in to do stuff that helps? Really, it's more about growing the community than it is about actually physically building the house? Or can you just talk about that aspect of the volunteer thing?
Sure. So we have over 8,000 volunteers. So it's huge. And the volunteers are really important. And that's how we got our roots, right? We build about 25 homes a year with volunteers. If we didn't have those volunteers, we would not be able to do the work that we do. And yeah, there are people who can give $1 million gifts, and there are people who can come out on a Saturday and help. There are people that can provide other skills, but time, talent, and treasure is what we are looking for in the community. And usually people have one of the three, some have all three. We are just excited to involve people in our mission. Also, a lot of corporations use this opportunity as team building. So they'll come out and spend a day together. And sometimes you find the most skilled people aren't the most senior people. So it's also a lot of fun when, someone's telling the CEO or the CFO, like, this is how you use this tool. And so there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of level setting.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to ask real quick on top of that, because, you have people who might not have ever used a hammer before and they're nailing in something. And it's, for me, of course, you're building a house, you want to make sure that it was done right. So what do y'all do when you have people helping put up boards and this and that? I'm sure there's like an inspection, there's some sort of quality control of quality of craftsmanship is really what I was getting at.
Absolutely. So we also joke that Habitat houses stand firm because there's so many nails in them because of volunteers.
Just want to make sure it's not going to fall. Yeah.
But yeah, we have a really talented construction crew. And it's an unusual set because they're all experts in their craft, but they're also good with volunteers because they're teachers and they have the construction background. So one of the things for the homeowners is coming out on site, you learn a lot of skills. And we particularly have a lot of people that come out. I had a niece that said, I want to know how to do home repairs on my house. So I thought it would be great to come out to Habitat because I'll learn those skills. So again, you don't have to have any skills, just a willingness. We also have volunteers. We call them regs. And they're volunteers that have maybe been volunteering with us for 20 years, and they're really good teachers. And so they'll also help people that are coming out that have never lifted a hammer before. And you learn this amazing skill that you can take forever. And even with our homeowners, how to change vents, how to do those basic things. If you haven't had to do those, you don't know even how to take care of the maintenance on your house. I wish I would have had a Habitat to show me all the things that I needed to know for a first home.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's trial and error.
Yeah. Like, oh, oops, I was supposed to change the filter out every X amount of months, and now your AC's, it's like, what? Things like that you're probably not used to. Yeah. Did you have anything else to add?
Well, ditto on that. I wish someone had trained me how to own a house.
Yeah.
For sure. And no, I guess I'll just... So the people who go out and volunteer, they really are building the house. They're supervised, but they are building the house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And So we have, and we can talk about if you're interested, so we can do about 25 a year with volunteers, but that was part of the challenge to be able to scale. We had to find ways to do it without volunteers because there just aren't enough volunteers to do 75 homes. So we had to get creative.
Yeah. So that's what y'all have scaled to is 75 homes a year, or you're trying to scale to that?
Well, actually, we'll hit it this year.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know.
So
maybe.
Maybe. Cross your fingers.
I know.
See. Maybe more volunteers, people come on.
Yeah.
But so even if you're putting tile down, people will help learn how to lay tile, and you're teaching them that too?
Oh, yeah. We do from roofing. I did siding when I was up there, and I wanted to be a show off. So I took the second floor, but then you have to hold that sheathing up there and climb up scaffolding. So by the time you have lunch, your arms and legs are hurting. So
yeah,
but they ask like, what are you interested in? What do you want to do? Here's what we have going on today.
Right. Oh, that's very cool. I love that. I think that's so great.
Hey, I'm Brandon Sparks with Nautilus Lending, based right here in Central Texas. We're a full-service mortgage operation and brokerage, serving Greater Texas as well as Florida and Tennessee. One of the greatest things about our shop is our ability to facilitate creative financing. What that means is that anything legally possible, we can get it funded. You want to find out more? Reach out to us, www.nautiluslending.com. That's www.nautiluslending.com.
Okay, well, let's talk about that 75 home. What are some of the biggest challenges you've seen with this crazy, ever-evolving Austin housing market, and how are you guys adapting with kind of where we are at?
Right. Well, our biggest challenge is being able to respond to a huge need.
Right.
And to do that, we had to increase our capacity and our scale. So we spent a lot of time just brainstorming, talking to others, how can we do more? And what we found was we can do about 25 homes with volunteers, and that maxes out our capacity. So if we want to build more homes, that means that we have to find a different way to do it. So that's what we've done.
Right.
We, we'll have our own crew that may be doing some aspects of the house so we can speed them up, and then using volunteers. If we're doing condos, there's different regulations, so you can't necessarily have volunteers. So we've had to be really creative and think outside of the box to be able to scale. It also is 3 times the amount of funding that we need. So again, in Austin, there's a lot of people that have been successful, and we're trying to find them and give them the opportunity to give back. And so those 2 things have really been our hardest things in scaling to 75, which we will hit this year for the first time. Actually, it's going to be 91. So we are working really hard, and it's because of the Carter Work Project. It really jumped us up.
Yeah.
But we're midway through the year and on target for the 91. So we're excited.
That's awesome. Well, so we mentioned a little bit about fostering generational, wealth with these families. So tell me this, in the communities you build, is there a certain amount, I mean, depending on clearly the land that you guys purchase, there has to be, 20 homes in a community you guys build, or how does it actually work? Because I'm still a little unclear if you create 25 homes in one community that are all for Habitat for Humanity. So like you said, creating
Right.
that network of single moms and that fostering of, that friendship, or is it you're building a house here, you're building a house here, you're building a house here in these specific communities? I kind of want to understand how you guys, what you pick and choose where you're building and what the areas, because it's still a little confusing to me. If you said 25 homes, now 75 homes, now 92 or 91, right?
Right.
So can you kind of explain that a little bit better?
Yes. And it really all leads back to land. So we do all of those.
Yeah.
We do all of this. So if we have, we had a church that was not going to be using the property anymore. They've contacted us. We can do 7 homes on that property. A lot
and
of
you'll build 7 homes right then and there.
So we'll build 7 homes in the middle of a neighborhood.
Got it.
Right. We also are working with master communities where they have an incentive to have 10% of the homes be affordable. So that's like with Whisper Valley. It's a huge community. We're building 48 homes in that community. Usually they tend to be located in one spot because it's just more efficient.
So 48 homes of 400 plus homes.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll usually build in a section, and we're building kind of in the middle of the neighborhood. So, our families will integrate. We'll do welcomes and invite the neighbors to participate in a build because we really want to build community, because sometimes people have a different impression of what Habitat is. And then they're like, oh, one of our construction crew, our home repair team said, that's my son's music teacher. He's the one that gave her the love of music.
Wow.
So, these really are our friends and neighbors. And so there's not a problem with integrating within a neighborhood, but we're also cognizant of making sure that we've done some meet and greets.
Right. Well, and let's talk about, like, for example, in those communities, like you're building 48 homes of 400 plus. Are you guys the lender? Like, are you guys the lender for these families? Is Austin Habitat for Humanity, or do you have a relationship with X, Y, and Z lenders that are able to give them great rates? And how does that work? I mean, you don't have to go into super detail, but just curious.
We have lenders. We are not the lender. We used to be, but again, to be able to scale, to do lending for 75 homes isn't scalable. So we have about 8 partners, and we usually negotiate a rate that's 2% under market.
Okay.
So our homeowners are paying principal off faster, which we want them to be able to do to build that wealth when the home is sold. And, again, everything's like a regular house. You get to sell it when you want to. It just stays affordable. We have great partners here in Austin that love working with our home buyers. And I think it's a great tool for them too, because they start a banking relationship like with that teacher, and then you tend to stay with that lender. So I'm hoping they take their next home loan out with the folks and a car loan and, establish that relationship.
And so essentially those lenders are kind of giving back. They can figure out a way to get it 2% and find a way that it works for everyone. Yeah, that's super cool. I love that. I was always curious, like, with interest rates so high, it's even hard for someone who makes $100,000 and $200,000 a year to afford something with the rates, right?
Right.
And so I was just curious how that works. So that's really interesting.
We'll also help with down payment assistance. That's another barrier that people have, and
so
we can go from
0 to 5%
or 0 to 5,000. So we work with people to help get the down payment, or we have lots of programs where we know if you're a veteran, there's this program. If you're, a school teacher, there's this program. So we have that knowledge, and we do have some funding that we can help with down payment assistance.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so great.
Trying to remove those barriers.
Right. Oh, 100%. I think I feel like I'm learning a lot about
You'll have to come out and build
I know
with us.
we will. We'll
You
have to do
too,
a team
Travis.
building. I think it'd be so fun. Well, let's look ahead 5 years. What do you think are your boldest ambitions for Habitat for Humanity? I know one of them you've got 90 something homes this year, which is, I feel like, huge, but let's look 5 years into the future. And let's say everything goes great, right? Interest rates come down, things start, kind of looking up. What do you really, really, really want to achieve for Austin Habitat for Humanity?
So we want to have 500 homes in the market. We did that in our first 38 years, and now we want to do it in the next 5.
Okay.
And so we also have a capital campaign to help us get there. So I would like to see us blow through that goal in 5 years, have 500 homes in the market. Those homes stay affordable. So now we have a resource of homes that are available when people move to Austin or they've been here for years. We'll have homes available. There won't be this shortage like there is. And then continue to break through with the advocacy to have people work together to get things to make it cheaper to build in Austin for everyone.
Yeah.
Because we can't do this alone. So
Right.
those are some goals in 5 years. We'd like to see those barriers removed on the advocacy end, and then have, I don't know what percentage of the population be able to do like you did and say exactly what our mission is
Yeah.
and know that we sell homes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know. And I feel like it was something I learned too. But I also feel like a big foundation of Austin Habitat is love. I feel like that's one of the core principles of you guys, because this all starts with love, right? You love of because I know y'all are faith-based, right? Love of, of Jesus, and or love of people, love of wanting a better sense of creating, community for people who may not be able to afford it on their own. But I also think with just how the world tends to be, trending with all of the things happening, right? It's so important to get people out of a situation and into a place where they can really thrive. And I feel like a lot of that starts off with a home, in a community close to where they work, to where they can be close, because maybe they're sharing a car, or you just never know what someone's, situation is. So I do think it's very cool that one of y'all's pillars is really comes down to just love, love of people and love of trying to create something good and transforming, kind of the housing industry. And I think it's awesome. Okay. So then, and now of course you can talk about kind of a little bit in the closing about what's a pivotal moment for you in your journey as CEO for Austin Habitat for Humanity that you were like, man, this moment is why we're doing what we're doing, and I want to keep going.
It's the families. You talked about the love. And when you see a child, we'll do home dedications. And the first home I went to, the child went running in to show me his first bedroom and what he was going to put and where he was going to put it. And then you see a mom say, now my children have a place to do their homework, because we were all in one bedroom. And, you see a mom who has teenagers start to cry because she thought she was going to never be able to own a home and provide for her sons. And so story after story is just so motivational. And to think that you can take that times 500 homes, times the number of people that live in that home, and then also over the lifespan of that home staying affordable, there may be 10 families that have the opportunity to take that home and then go to market.
Yeah.
They can keep it forever. And we do. We have some homeowners that it's their forever home, and others that it's just their trajectory, as you said, to thriving.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, sometimes it's not the last step, it's the first.
It's the first. Wow. Yeah. That's pretty, I feel like that's pretty right there. You're like, I mean, that's amazing
also,
in and of itself.
I was at a home dedication and someone came up
Mhm.
and said, my mom had a Habitat home. And she was the first generation to go to college. Now she's working at one of the lending institutions that does a large number of our homes.
Wow.
And she got to tell her story.
That's very cool.
And then her daughters were there. And of
Mhm.
course she owns a home, right?
Right.
So you see that family doesn't need support anymore. They're
Right.
thriving.
They're thriving,
And
but
so
it
does
all
the next
started
generation with her
that,
mom.
Mm-hmm, and that Habitat for Humanity home. That's great. Do y'all have a wait list of people that are wanting a home?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. We don't have a large wait list, which
Mhm.
surprised me. We
Mhm.
used to when we were doing 12, 15 homes. So what we're doing is working to build that pipeline. So letting people know, because a lot
Mhm.
of essential workers, my mom would have been in that category. I'm working.
Mhm.
I don't need charity, or I don't need help,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, no, this is for people who are working hard and have a job and are
Mhm.
paying health insurance and all of that. So just encouraging those people who are making between that 65 and 96
Mhm.
to just go on our website. It's very easy to see if you qualify for a home. And almost every single one of us have employees who probably could take advantage of this.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then do you show your locations? Because like,
Yep.
so do you have land in, North Austin, South? I mean, you'll say the locations where you have
Right.
potential
So
homes.
and we also have housing counselors, so they can talk about where you work,
Mhm.
where your children go to school, what we have
Yeah.
in that area, and really help support, because
Mhm.
again, we don't want to relocate someone. So
Right.
we want to, a lot of East is where land is affordable.
Mhm.
But we will go up and down,
Right,
you
yeah.
know. So and we'll do rural communities too that are in our markets. We do a lot of home repairs
Yeah.
in our rural communities,
Wow.
and so that's a way we can reach out.
That's awesome. And then of course, there's some people too, I'm sure they want to say, oh, with tolls and this and that. So that's awesome that you have counselors that'll help say, hey, look, this is your work. This is the proximity. This is probably going to be the best because you're not going to have to hit tolls and you won't be spending X amount on gas. And
You
that
can
is
get
so
to your
cool.
child's play,
Yeah.
get them to soccer practice, because if you work in one area and live in another, with 3 kids,
It's so much.
right? It's so much.
And then you're filling up on gas. You're like, oh my gosh, this is
And
like
you're
a
running out of
second
time.
mortgage, just
Yeah.
the gas, Okay, well, what advice would you give to rising leaders who really want to make an impact, through nonprofit work?
Stay close to the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Always meet those families and be humbled by how hard they work
Mm-hmm.
to get where they are. And it's easy to get stuck in goals and metrics. Remember the heart of the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I start to miss that, I go to a home, I talk to one of the homeowners, and your tank is immediately filled. And mentor others.
Mm-hmm.
As you're learning, mentor others. I find as I get older, that's as rewarding as the mission is creating the next generation of nonprofit leaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, if someone wants to, again, volunteer, get involved, donate, whatever it is, it's austinhabitatforhumanity.com.
Yep, .org.
.org.
Yep, you can find us online and you can donate, you can volunteer, you can give of your time, you can apply for a home, your first home ever.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, my goodness, Michele, thank you so much. This has been very enlightening, and I feel like understanding the mission a little bit better has been really helpful because, it's not just, hey, we're building homes to help people afford it, is you're making a huge difference, right? With helping achieve the American dream. But I don't think it's one of the things I think people need to understand is that you're helping change these people's lives. They might have had a completely different trajectory in life had they not been put in a home, in a community where they were supported and, had the things that they needed to thrive and really, achieve their goals. So it's much bigger than just providing a home for somebody at an affordable rate.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Michele, thank you. This has been awesome.
Oh, and just to mention too, because you did mention that we are faith-based,
Mm-hmm.
our homes are open to everyone. Because
Right.
sometimes people say, is it people in churches?
Right.
We are radically inclusive. We
Mhm.
sell homes to everyone in the community and want everyone in the community to have a home. So
Right.
just want to add that
Of
in.
course,
And thank you for your time and for helping us spread the word. And we can't wait to have your crew out there.
I know. We're going to get everyone out there with maybe some pink hard hats for us.
There you go.
And
You can bring Travis too.
I love it. Travis will come hang on. I love it.
I'll definitely come.
I love it. Yeah, I would too, for sure. Well, thank you again.
Thank
This
you.
was awesome. And that's all we
Okay.
got. Thanks for listening.